Welcome back to Algebra 2, Chapter 2, Section 1 in this book. But you don't have to have the book, because if you just want to know about functions and their graphs. But if you're doing the class, you need the book, which you can find about in the introduction video. Okay, so for Algebra 2, what we're going to talk about now is functions. And number sentences like this, equations, are sometimes called relations. And we've learned about in Algebra 1 about the one that's abbreviated the form y equals mx plus b. We like anything that's y equals because we have a button on our calculator that says y equals and it will graph it for us. Yay! Alright, so here is my coordinate plane, and the four sections that the y and x axis divided into is 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes counterclockwise in a circle starting here, and by tradition these are written in Roman numerals. That's why you learned Roman numerals. The reason why it goes counterclockwise in a circle going this way is because of trig, which you probably learned in geometry last year. If not, we'll talk more about it when we do trig this year in chapter 13. Alright. So, if we went to graph this, then we would need an if-then chart. We'll make a list of x's and a list of y's by trying things in our equation. They're called x and y, they're called domain and range, they're called if and then, they're called inputs and outputs. How you can remember that domain is x is my oldest son had a teacher from Africa who was his college algebra teacher, and he would say in his beautiful African accent, Simba, everything the light touches on the horizon is your domain. I won't even try the accent. But so the horizontal line is the domain. How I remembered it a long time ago, which is not as good, is I would say, why, cowboy, go out on the range? That's all I had. Alright, so then what you do is you try things. And I always start with if x equals 0 because I'm lazy and that's easiest. So you say 0 times 2 is 0 plus 7 is 7. And then I usually try 1, but because I'm lazy and 1 is second easy. But that's so big, I don't want something huge off my piece of graph paper. Once again, lazy. So I'm going to do negative 1. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2 plus 7 is 5. Because this has no exponents, I know that it's a line, that it's linear, and I only need 2 points if it's a line for my x's and y's. So now I graph it. If x is 0, y is 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Of course, you're going to use graph paper or ruler and do it nice. If x is negative 1, y is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go over 1. If I have 2 points, I have a line. Whoop, whoop. It's more fun with sound effects. Okay, so these points that I put on here are ordered pairs. And how you would normally write them is like this. You write x's and then y's and you put some dots. Okay, now we're going to talk more about what I expect with graphs over here. Okay, so some special number sentences get a special name of function. They're the specials, alright? Now, if it's a function, instead of writing y, you can write this symbol, which is read f of x. Also, so y and 0 and f of x are weirdly all the same. You get y, 0, and f of x on one side by itself is weirdly all the same thing. And we'll talk more about y, especially when we get to parabolas. Now, with this is called function notation, where you use f of x instead of y. Remember on your calculator, you've got y1, y2, y3, like that? Well, instead of f of x1, f of x2 like that. Instead, you do g of x, h of x. I don't think I've ever seen I of x. By I of x, they're tired of it and don't do it anymore. But instead of 1, 2, 3, it's f of x, g of x, h of x. With function notation, like this one here, sometimes instead of having an x there, it will have something. Whatever is here, you substitute into the equation for x. So we sing the Who song, substitute. It's before my time too, so don't complain. These songs help us get it in our memory. And we put, where the X was, we put a 3. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 7 is 13. All right. Oh, now, how do you know if it's a special? If it gets that special title function? There's 2 ways. One is, when you do your if-then chart, there are no repeats in this column. In the inputs if domain or X column, nothing repeats. If you had the 0 also equals 2, it would not be a function. No repeats in X. And the other thing is called the pencil test. You take your pencil and you go left to right, keeping your pencil vertical, and if it only touches the line one place at a time, then it gets to be a special. It gets the special name function. Now, can you graph X equals 3? Yes. You go to X, you go to 3, you put a dot, you put a line going up and down, because no matter what, Y can go up, Y can go down, but X equals 3. Is it a function? No. It fails the pencil test. Is it something you can graph? Yes. Does it exist? Yes. Is it a function? No. And we're going to learn more things that aren't a function this year, because we're going to take parabolas that you learned in Algebra 1, and we're going to turn them on their side, and they're not going to be a function anymore. All right, so let's practice this one. What's this going to look like? It's going to be a line. I know it's going to be a straight line because there are no exponents on X or Y. So I make my if-then chart. I start with what? 0. Why? Because I'm lazy. 0 plus 1 is 1. What's the next easiest one? Usually 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Notice I don't write these down. I want you to be able to do it in your head like me to generate your if-then chart. Okay, so I go to X is 0, Y is 1 and put a dot. I go to X is 1, Y is 2 and put a dot. And I draw my line. Now, to get credit for your graphs, I want arrows on your X and Y axis. I would prefer them to be labeled too. I want an if-then chart. I want arrows on the lines, and I want points plotted. Because your calculator will graph for you, I get these lame-o videos that look like that. And I will not give you credit for that, and neither will your college teacher. Use your calculator. Use it to check. Use it first. Put it in there. But make sure you have all of these things so it won't look like you cheated off of your calculator. Your calculator is for checking, not cheating. We can put that on a t-shirt. I need merch for my YouTube. Math is great. And your calculator is for checking, not teaching. We're not cheating. Okay, how about this one? Is it linear? No. Do you see that squared? That's a parabola. See the negative? It's a parabola going down. You're going to learn how to do that later. Is this one linear? Yes. No exponents. Example 6 in your book, notice they only graph the first quadrant here because it's time and distance, and time and distance are both always positive. No negative time, no time machine. So read through your book, look at the examples, make sure you understand them. If you don't, all of this is Algebra 1. Go back to my other YouTube videos for Algebra 1 and watch these. I can do it much slower for them. Things that I just took a minute on, I'll take, a bunch of tapes on for them. So go back if you need it and watch it. All right? Math is great. See you next time.